All right, today we're going to break down something that's, well, it's everywhere. It's this incredibly powerful way of looking at how we all make decisions, whether it's something tiny or something that literally changes the world. We're talking about game theory. But before we dive deep, let's start with a question that I think affects every single one of us. Why do we sometimes fail to cooperate, even when it's obviously the smart thing to do? It feels like this big puzzle of human nature, right? Well, it turns out game theory has a really, really interesting answer for us. Okay, so let's get right into it. What exactly is game theory? Once you strip away all the complicated math and the jargon, what are we really talking about here?
So yeah, that official definition sounds pretty academic, doesn't it? But the core idea is actually super simple. Think of it like this. Game theory is the science of strategy. It's all about making choices when the result you get depends entirely on what someone else chooses to do. And believe me, this isn't just theory. It's at play constantly in business and politics, and yeah, even in your own personal life.
And to really wrap our heads around this, there's no better way than to look at the most famous game in all of game theory, the prisoner's dilemma. So imagine this. You and a partner in crime get arrested. The cops are smart. They separate you. You can't talk to each other. And then they come to each of you individually and offer you the exact same deal. What you decide to do next, well, it's going to determine both of your fates.
Okay, let's look at the options here. Option 1, you both stay silent, you keep your mouth shut, you both get a pretty light sentence, just 6 months. That's the best outcome for the team, right? But what if you betray your partner while they stay loyal and silent? Well, you walk away completely free, and they get hammered with 10 years in prison. And what if you both turn on each other? If you both betray? Then you both get 2 years. So you're sitting there in that interrogation room. What do you do?
And this is where the paradox kicks in, the real head-scratcher. Just think it through from your perspective. If your partner stays silent, what's your best move? Betray them and you walk free? Okay, but what if your partner betrays you? Well, your best move is still to betray them back, because then you only get 2 years instead of that awful 10. So no matter what the other person does, your own self-interest screams betray. That's what we call the dominant strategy. And this is the core tension of the whole thing. What seems rational for the individual can lead to a result that's way worse for everyone involved. Okay, but let's be real. This isn't just some abstract thought experiment about prisoners. The real power of this idea, the reason we're talking about it, is because you and I, we're players in these kinds of games every single day. Most of the time, we don't even realize it's happening. I mean, think about it. You see it when you're choosing your route in traffic, right? Or when you're negotiating a salary. Or, my favorite, when you're stuck in a group project, just praying that everyone else will pull their own weight. In every single one of those situations, your best possible outcome hinges on the decisions that other people are making. Let's just stick with that traffic example for a second because it's perfect. Imagine there's one route that everyone knows is usually the fastest. What happens? Well, if every single driver makes the rational choice to take that route, boom, it immediately gets clogged and becomes the slowest way to go. The choice that made sense for one person when made by everyone creates a collective nightmare for all of us. So that gridlock, that feeling of being stuck, that is a perfect example of a really key idea in game theory called a Nash equilibrium. All it means is that you're in a situation where no single person can make things better for themselves by changing what they're doing, as long as everyone else keeps doing the same thing, right? Once you're stuck in that jam, just changing lanes on your own isn't going to help. The whole system is just locked into a state that's pretty bad for everybody.
This is all starting to sound a little bleak, isn't it? If the smartest move is always to betray each other, and we keep getting stuck in these terrible situations, I mean, how does society even work? How do we get anything done?
And that brings us to the really big, important question. If raw self-interest so often points us towards cheating or betrayal, why is so much of our world built on trust and cooperation? It seems like a contradiction. But the answer, and this is what's so cool, the answer from game theory is that we don't just play the game, we learn how to change the rules. See, this is what's so brilliant. It shows us that trust isn't just some vague, fuzzy feeling. It's actually a strategic calculation. And for trust to evolve, you need 3 key things to be in place. First, you need repeat interactions. You have to know you're going to see this person again, so your reputation matters. Second, there has to be a chance for a win-win. It can't be a zero-sum game. And third, you need low miscommunication. You have to be able to clearly read each other's signals. When you get those 3 things right, something amazing happens. Cooperation stops being a naive choice and actually becomes the smartest long-term strategy. So we've gone from 2 people in a room to our daily commute. But what happens when we zoom out even further? what if we apply this to an entire society? Can these same basic rules actually explain how huge, massive social change happens? I mean, this is the million-dollar question for anyone who wants to change the world, right? Activists, marketers, leaders, they all want to know, can a small, really committed group of people actually change the way an entire society thinks or behaves? Well, game theory says yes, absolutely. And what's wild is it even suggests there's a magic number. That number is 25%. Yeah, you heard that right. Research has actually found a social tipping point at around the 25% mark. Now, sure, the exact range can be anywhere from, say, 10 to 40%, but that 1 in 4 number seems to be the key. Once a really committed minority hits that critical mass, their idea or their norm can suddenly just cascade through the rest of society. It spreads like wildfire. Okay, but as amazing and powerful as all this sounds, it's really important